Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reach the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there. How the devil are we, as it says on the on my top? We've got to be happy. We 6 unbeaten, is it now? 5 unbeaten in a row against Palace. A nice win, a great performance, leading us into Europe next season. All I've got to say is this.
Yes! 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 Oh! 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 Oh, God. Oh. I'll have what she's having.
Indeed. Proud Terriers, good afternoon. So how the devil are you? I hope you're well. Our weekend just got a lot better, to be honest with you. How was yours? I don't know your result off the top of my head. So how is it going? Spencer, good evening. How are you? Yes, come on the Foxes. I've been saying good evening all afternoon in the watch along, but that honestly, watch alongs are great when you win. Not so great when you don't win, obviously. But look, you know, we've got so much to talk about here. And we're going to look at the other results first of all, because it's been a weird weekend for results. It really has. So get yourself a beer, get your slippers on, get comfy, and join in. Yes, indeed. And we're going to say hello there. I think he's a bit shocked he was on. I don't think he was expecting me to put him in so quickly. But Brad, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a way for the board later on to keep it still, because this thing doesn't have it doesn't have Vec's air in this bloody house. And of course, these twats on a motorbike go past when I'm just about thinking of getting up to shut it. Yeah, good evening, mate. Sorry about that. Bit distracted.
That's all right. That's all right. It's good evening from me, and it's good evening from him, as they say. Well, let's have a look at some of the weekend's results. Shall we? Started off on Friday night. It was a 1-0 win to Newcastle, and in the prediction league, none of us went for that. It's been a low score in the prediction league. Everton, Man United. Bloody hell, Brad! Where did that come from?
The demise of Manchester. That's exactly where it come from. If you're, I mean, I don't know. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big your team is supposed to be or how talented you are as a footballer. When you've got an interim manager who you know is not going to be manager, and then it looks like you're already going to sack him to replace him with Tim. You're that desperate to get rid of him. You know, the watermills, the rumour mills have started that you're going to replace him sooner rather than later. And then they come up against an Everton side who were there for the taking, and they just let them get 3 points. It's absolutely baffling.
And if not a bigger shock than Everton beating Man United, which none of us went for, Steve and his hatred for Arsenal got himself a point. Brighton, who are bottom of the form league, 2, Arsenal 1. I mean, you must be like in dreamland.
Well, I'm no
Chloe's
longer
talking to you. She's posting happy smiley pics. I mean, she's come out the woodwork.
Yeah, and I'm no longer a jinx towards Brighton and Hove Albion, so it's been a good weekend for me in terms of progress, mate.
Well, you did go for the draw. You couldn't quite commit away from.
I know tactics. I finally cracked it. What I need to predict for them to make sure that Brighton don't lose, and I stay in the good book.
And did you think that our away 9-0 record was about to be in jeopardy? Chelsea, I mean, I don't know what's happening with Southampton. If they didn't have these good starts to the season, they'd be down at the bottom.
Yeah, Southampton are kind of a weird club that have just been like that really all season in a weird way. Just when you think, yeah, this is it. This is where they'll turn the corner. This is where they'll go on that run. And you fancied them to be, you know, Chelsea, bad form, lost that big, heavy loss to Brentford. Then the hammering against Madrid. They were there for the taking. And again, you just forget not turning up. I don't think they arrived until the second half because it was embarrassingly easy for Chelsea.
Yeah. Hello to Terry. Welcome along. How are you, sir? Of course. I mean, he always watches. He always watches, Terry. So he probably saw you suggest that. Leeds obviously getting 3 past Watford. Spurs going to town against Villa. Oh dear, West Ham. Now I don't know whether our friends at West Ham unofficial or Forward from Iron are watching, but you know, you always used to say you were looking back down the league to see where Leicester were. Well, I've got to be honest with you, we're below you, but we're dodging the wheels as they come off your wagon and bounce down the road past us. We all went for a draw for Palace against Leicester. None of us thought that Norwich would beat Burnley. Hi, Dan. And I got the point for the draw between Man City and Liverpool. So as we look at it, Steve got 2 right. Brad, you got 3. I got 4. So Steve is on 105. You set on 119, and I'm on 126. I mean, I might as well just put my feet up now. Mind time. I feel like Man City.
Yeah, well, it's closer between Man City and Liverpool, but I did say whoever won this, typically nobody won it, would win the league, and I still feel that I think if you was going to go who benefits from the draw the most, it's got to be, because of how close it is to the end of the season, it's still got to be Man City's to lose.
Has, definitely, yeah. But anyway, this is the post-match review. Leicester City 2, Crystal Palace 1. You can catch us on YouTube at Leicester Till I Die TV. Please, if you're not on there or if you are on there, either way, give the show a subscribe and smash those likes buttons for us. Really do appreciate it. And if you are listening on the podcast, thank you as always. We're on all the major platforms and some of the not so major ones as well. This is where you can catch us.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Broadcasting live worldwide.
And thanks to everybody that joined us for the watch along earlier. And Jeff, who was in the Philippines, couldn't get the Leicester game on. So I hope our new graphics were of help to you, Jeff. You had to put up with Norwich Burnley on the telly. But anyway, 2-1, Brad. Let's have a look at the teams. Then they came out. What do you think of? I mean, there was obviously changes. There were 7 changes, but we've had the squad this year, but we've just never had a fit squad. And it was nice to see that we could, make 7 changes and still look at the team and go, that's not a bad team.
No, yeah, it is. It's nice to be on that experience, be on that side of things, experiencing pretty much an unforced change. Normally when we've seen 5 or 6 changes, 3 of them have no doubt been injuries. And to my knowledge, all them players came on today were just to come in to rotate ahead of of Thursday's big game away at PSV, and it was a strong lineup. You know, it's something we've pointed to throughout the season that Leicester now have that quality and depth. You know, and I was really pleased with what I saw on that pitch and around the ground as well. The fans deserve a massive shout out for their efforts today because they were brilliant. They were there all the way through with them, even when Palace had that. And I'm going to be generous here. They had about 3 minutes of control of that game. Apart from that, we controlled that game as well.
Yes, it was strange because I think we both, myself and Nate from Eagle-Eyed Football Channel, we were both sort of got half an eye on our next games. They've got 7 days time. They've got a little matter of an FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea. We've obviously got the PSV game midweek. They didn't make any changes. They got the injury, and I hope he's going to be all right for next week. He's quite an important player that got the injury. I think it was Mitchell, was it, that got injured? So I hope he'll be all right. But, I looked at that team and I thought, hello. It was strange not to see Barnes on the left there with Thomas and Dewsbury Hall. But Lookman, Maddison, they both play. Well, Tielemans has certainly had a better game than the other night. Mendy, again, for me, did nothing wrong. And Soyuncu and Amati, it looks like we've finally got fit, and I'm touching wood when I say this, but 2 sets of central defenders.
Yeah, it's all coming good for Leicester at the end of the season, and I just said to you there before we started, Chris, didn't I, that it was nice for a press conference to be matched on the pitch in terms of what Brendan said and what the lads went out and performed, because Brendan made no allusions to the fact that it's difficult, a long way off, seemed highly unlikely, but you have to look at the situation in context now that if Leicester can keep this nice run they're on of results and keep picking up these wins, they've got Chelsea and they've got Spurs left, but the other 7 games are teams that you'd favour us against on any given day. And if we can get through them games and nick a point or maybe a win against one of them other 2, you'd feel that Leicester might just still have an outside chance of making that top 7. And
totally.
You need that performance, and that was the performance we got today. It was almost rings true of how positive we were against Brentford at home as well, to be fair, though, as well. So it's not something that's only just started to happen.
No. It has obviously coincided with all our players coming back. And Spencer went there today and he thought Mendy and KDH were great. Niall, good afternoon, sir. How are you? I hope you are well. And, not the fact that just Niall's been in. I mean, we were denied the win against Manchester United when I thought we deserved that. But VAR being VAR, of course. And we'll come on to VAR in this game as well later. But no, the forms come with the, I always said, Judge Rogers, when we've got the full squad, nobody seems to want that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place. They can't, they're not taking it by the balls and running with it, so that we've got every chance of sneaking in there.
Yeah, again, it's still difficult no matter what the expectations is around the other, like I said, minus Chelsea and Tottenham. You'd fancy yourselves against Chelsea if we can get ourselves in front early in that game. But again, doesn't mean necessarily that Leicester are going to, go and win all the other 6 or 7 games or whatever it would be after, after them too. But you would look at that and think, well, if these teams are going to keep dropping points, which Leicester are going to need still, even if they catch up and win both their games in hand, they're going to need points to be dropped by somebody up there. But like you said, Chris, the pool of teams that Leicester will be looking at now to drop points has got a bit bigger, because you was looking at a Brighton, a Villa and a Wolves being ahead of us, and now even though Wolves are still quite a bit ahead of us, I believe we're probably top of that pile now, aren't we? We're top of that pile in the race to catch 7th place.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's have a look, shall we? There we go. As if by magic, sir. There is the post-match table. And I've gone down to 11th just to keep you happy, Brad. And I've included Bryce on there. But yeah, when you look at that, I mean, we're on 40, so at least we're not going to get relegated. We're on 40.
Get the campaign out.
Yeah, if we beat, and it's a big ask because one of those games is Chelsea, the other one of those games is Everton, who are fighting for their lives and proved yesterday what they can do. So they're not going to be a pushover that everybody, well, me included, thought they might be. That would give us 46. We're actually 3. If we win the game, I've got an extra game in hand on Wolves. If we win that, we're level with Wolves in 8, and then we're only 2 off that 7th place. So, it's there for the West Ham, like I say, are dropping down like the old proverbial brides knickers on the wedding night. Man United are just being Man United at the moment, and Arsenal. Well, if you can't beat, no disrespect, if you can't beat Brighton when they're bottom of the form table, then what can you do? But it gave the Arsenal fan channel something to moan about, isn't it? But it's looking a lot better than it was.
Yeah, and maybe this is something that we've done here, where you with the stronger advocate of the team, you was definitely one that was still saying, even in the midst of frustrations during some game, that let Brendan get the squad back. Yeah. Let's see what happens. And it almost got to a point where Leicester fans and the club got on the same page where it's like, okay, let's ride this wave. Let's kind of get back to us what we know. And it can't be no coincidence. I've got to hand it to a manager, really. I looked at the way we pressed today, and we'll get to that a bit later, but it was quite in the same way as Man City are told to press with Pep Guardiola. I noticed today, I know they got a draw today against Liverpool, but the way they pressed at times was very similar there. So, about 5 or 6 weeks ago, Brendan said Leicester got their identity back, and minus that loss to Arsenal, I'd say he's been fairly right. We do seem to be back to that Leicester that's, when it's got all its quality there available. Quick mention: when did Messi decide? When did Mendy say Messi? I meant Mendy. He's that good. But when did Mendy decide? You know what? I just want to be like Prime Zidane as a CDM today, because he made some pelling runs today, and to a point that in the second, when they had that break, when there was that injury to the Crystal Palace player, that you could see Brendan instructing him to get forward even more because he liked what he was seeing. And when did Mendy decide that? And how come we nearly lost him 2 or 3 times?
I don't know, but I'm worried about. I mean, I'd love to keep him. I've always said Mendy or Chowdhury, and I know Chowdhury's got the local lad and what have you, but I'd love to keep Mendy. It's whether he wants to play second fiddle to Ndidi. But of course, we could again next season. We could be in 4 competitions, cups and what have you. So, even if Ndidi was fit, now we've got 2 games a week till the end of the season. You're going to want to rotate your squad, but it depends. I mean, he's got end of the year left on his contract, apparently, Mendy. So I wouldn't mind tying him down. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't mind tying him down. But, I mean, when you look at that game today and look at the way we played, and I never felt threatened by Palace. No,
me either. I maybe thought maybe I've got Bamba's blue tinted glasses on, because I think I got a bit too overexcited about the result, because I was just so impressed with the performance. Even when Crystal Palace were able to get to the ball into our final third, literally apart from them 3 minutes where they had a bit of a spell, and that's where they ended up getting their goal from. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, later on, but we just controlled them. We never panicked. And even though maybe as fans at 2-1 we was nervous, you didn't see an ounce of nerves on the pitch. They were calmness personified throughout. And for me, people might say, Man United win is probably more impressive. And yes, it is. But I would argue that we have just seen the best performance at the King Power, if not this season, from Leicester City. Maybe not in all competitions, but in the Premier League, I feel like maybe it's been that long since I've seen it. Maybe, because Brentford at home, we took our foot off the gas and let them back in. We didn't do that against Palace. It was just an unfortunate lapse in concentration that got Palace back in the game that realistically we would never really losing if you looked at how we played it.
Yeah, I mean, what we must do, and if you look at our last 4-5 games there, it's like 1 drawn, 1 lost. So as I said, it's got to be a win today, but we've got to get that. And I know we've only lost 1 in 5, but we've got to change those draws into wins. And like you say, there's no stopping where we could end up this season. And I'm going to be honest with you, and maybe people will agree with me, or they'll tell me, you're talking bollocks as normal, Chris, shut up. But I think if we end up in that second of the semi-finals of the Conference League, and 8th or 9th, possibly even 7th in the, well, let's say 8th or 9th in the Premier League, I think it is a good season with all the injury, and you take into account everything that's happened to us.
Yeah, it's definitely a season that in August you would have looked at and gone 8th and 9th, but I still fancy us to sneak in the back door. You'd have seen 8th and 9th as a good season, but probably still a little bit just shy of that secondary that's second status target, as they call it. Like 8th and 9th is a really good season. European spots is brilliant, and then however high you finish depends on just how brilliant it is as a season. But yeah, I agree with you. I think if you take everything you have to on a season review, you look at everything that's happened throughout the season, and it hands up. Brendan's been speaking about it in training ground. It's not a myth. It's something that obviously clearly was a thing and clearly was happening. The lads still did have the beliefs. All these fans falling for lazy journalism, saying that Madison was this and Tillmans is that, and his head's here and his head's there, like E-I-E-I-O, bloody everything's going out. And Rodgers has always been out here to reassure the fans, I think, that they're doing everything they can to get the best, given the situations they've been in. And like you said, Chris, and others have said, in defence of Rodgers, give him a full team. I can't remember which commentator it was that said it, but there was a commentator on one of
Clinton Morrison.
Clinton Morrison. This isn't a name I can't believe I'm praising. I'm glad. I hope he enjoyed the beating his Palace I took today. But he said it. Obviously, it was him that said it. Where they said, give him a full squad. His players back. His 25-man squad. All right, we've still got Ndidi.
He basically said, judge him.
Yeah. And
when
the strong
he's
team
got
we've got
fit
available.
players.
Yeah, and we've got 90% of that back. Like I said, Tillmans we can't have back. Not Tillmans. Indeed, he's out for the season. He's not going to be back. But Vardy, minus him, realistically, we've got it.
You're always going to have some sort of injury, but we've just had, it's just been horrendous. But we've actually got more back now than we've got out for once. And Scott said there we did to Palace what they did to Arsenal. I mean, I'm just seeing Patrick Vieira here. He's saying the damage was done in the first half with the way we entered into the game. We gave ourselves too much to climb in the second half. In the second half, we put more tempo in our game. We were more aggressive and managed to create situations. Second half was more positive. We played more forward and put them more under pressure. I mean, that certainly, I don't think was the game I saw, because like I said, I never felt that we were under pressure. But we didn't give, I mean, the Nate who was doing the show with me, the watch along, he kind of said that we never gave them space in the midfield.
No, we didn't. We did not let them breathe. And again, I'll touch more upon it on the tactics segment. But we really did. The way we shaped up, they were quite rigid in how they tried to press their line. And Leicester took full advantage of that. You could even see it to a point, the press up at the front. And that's where the goal came from, funny enough. We did that about 5 or 6 times. And then the 6th time was a charm. The press reaped its reward. And can we just take a minute to say, this, Chris? Tillmans should sign a 2-year deal just to have the privilege of playing alongside KDH for another season at least, because that kid is phenomenal. The drive and effort that kid puts in. He runs around. He doesn't look a jot tired. He plays 90 minutes at that tempo every game. His assist for the goal, the way he just knew to turn and where to go with it. He didn't have to wait. He didn't have to think about it. He just did it. He knew where Lookman was. He threaded the ball, and his goal could you have picked a opening goal to
No.
open your account in the
No,
Premiership?
not at all.
Yeah, if you want,
but
you know,
definitely, we'll talk about Kieran Dewsbury Hall later because of obvious reasons. But yeah, Gabe, good evening. She agrees that KDH is an absolute baller, man of the match, hands down. Lookman is deserving of more game time. I just want to go back before we sort of get into the game itself, because obviously, as we said at the start, not obviously, but as we said at the start. Going through the results, we've both gone for a draw. However, when it came to actually doing the X-Foxes League that I do, I couldn't stick with the draw. I had to change my mind. And I went, if I can find it, where are we? We've got it here somewhere. There we go. I went for a 2-1. Well, who knew? Who knew I would get that right?
Well,
you know, but then I kind of just say, if you look where I am, I needed it because I was bottom.
Yeah, wow, you put yourself there alphabetically, I see.
Yeah, well, no, that's how it does. I didn't do that.
Yeah,
I think because I got 3 points this week, and Ian only got 1, and I think that's why it moved me up. But
that's what you say, mate. That's what you tell them, don't you? That's what you say in the email.
Ian is still joint 5th, so we can look at it that way, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what you put in his email as well, didn't you? Go, don't worry, Steve. Ian, you're not bottom, you're joint 5th. Yeah, I see it.
Dorco, good evening. How the devil are you, sir? Welcome along. Thanks for joining us. Thought Daka was going to be the new Vardy. How wrong was I? Very disappointed. Look, really? I just want to say this about Daka and Samari is that when I brought this up with the Manchester City fan the other day about Jack Grealish going to Man City and how they could pay £100 million for one player and then he not be a starter. And he made the point that with Pep, they always take a season to bed in and get used to his idea and how he plays. And it's always the second season. Like Mahrez, it took him a couple of seasons to now their top scorer this season, but it took him a couple of seasons to bed in. Now, you know, yes, you occasionally get a player like Fofana that's thrown into the deep end and absolutely nails it. But other players, they've got to get used to the style of play, not only for Leicester, but for the Premier League as well. And, you know, Soyuncu, you know, he had a couple of seasons, or for at least one season, behind the scenes with the under-23s. He only came in after he'd been here at least a whole season and was used to us playing, and that's why he came in and was good from the start. But I do think we have to cut some of these new signings a bit of slack. You know, years ago, and I always quote this, Liverpool, as far as I can remember, signed Keegan from Scunthorpe, and he didn't see the first team for 6 months. But that might be wrong, but that's what I kind of got in my head. So when we're signing players from abroad, they've got to be given time, haven't they?
I mean, yeah, naturally. Sometimes you get you get some players that just have a knack for the game at a tense level. And we're talking players that you start talking about in a different bracket. You know, you can have really good players that don't make it into that bracket. And I'm talking, you look at Diaz at Liverpool, the way he settled in at Liverpool, the way he started his career there. Some players just have it. And Leicester have had a fair few that have just had it. Dewsbury Hall, since he's been getting his debut, hasn't even looked like being taken out of that side. He might be one for having it. I say might because it's still early in his Premier League career. But we've seen it with some Leicester players. Fofana, he just has it.
He was thrown in that swimming pool, and my God, he swam. You know, but not everybody can do that, can they?
No, they can't, and they can't do what he did with his injury recovery because that takes something out. No matter what it is, if it's a lengthy injury, and you know, Samari actually, people might not have noticed this because I've read the reports on Leicestershire Live. I know they're a bit clickbaity, but this was Brendan Rodgers speaking, and you know, Soyuncu was actually missing from the European game, I think, because of illness. Or so it was stated. I know he was talking about Samari, Perez, who I don't care about, and and Samore. And he said, I remember he said 2 of them had illnesses, and I'm pretty sure Solange was one of them. I can't remember which one happened to with Perez or Samore, but the other one was injured, carrying a bit of a niggle and a knock. So that's also played a part, because he's also picked up a few niggles when he's just started to get himself going at Leicester. So it's not the easiest. I don't know why they were so disappointed in Daka, because if you read these replies and listen to what Brendan says in his press conference, something I was really impressed with today was Daka getting back and taking that Ian Acho role, because that's the role Brendan's trying to teach him. He even said, what one part of the game I'm working on with Daka is getting him back. And I know whilst we have to utilise his strength, which is obviously sitting on the line of that last defender and getting him behind, like he did in creating the goal, playing his part in creating the goal by reading the interception and getting on his bike, but he's also developing. So we've got to entail that. He's growing in strength. He's got to get used to the Premier League physicality. Cliche, I know, but he does fall over a bit easy, but so did Nacho when he first came to us. I know he played for Man City.
Well, I was just going to say, you look at Nacho, and he was at Manchester City, and he came, if you like, he did take a step down to come to Leicester, in fairness, and the hope that he was going to get regular game time. That didn't work out very well, but it took him a couple of seasons to get established and get playing, and now we're probably looking at Vardy's probably played his last season this season now, where he is sort of the playing 90 minutes week in, week out. Let's be honest. And
that might not be a bad thing, because that means that maybe we talk about Vardy a lot, obviously, and I actually will be quick here. We talk about how he retired because he didn't feel he was getting used right at England, and he wanted to prolong his playing career. And it might not be a bad thing that Iniesta has had a few years to get ready, because we've seen he's lethal this season when he seems to play. He's got a great goal and assist ratio. Daka's not done too bad at all for someone who's only just come to the division. And if you give them maybe 2 seasons of bench super sub Vardy, that's still 2 vital years that gets them development to work as a unit more often. And
as I said, he will. To me, he will become that super sub coming on for the last 20 minutes.
Well, I thought he'd be like this season, to be honest with you. I said he might do that this season. So if it helps, if we get the best out of Vardy by playing him that way, I'm sure he's happy to do that for 2 seasons. And probably still get like 15 to 20 games on or off the bench or starting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people are disagreeing with Dorco.
I am.
Certainly, Scott did. Ant says, "Good evening, Ant. How the devil are you? I heard Gerard has KTH posters on his wall. As long as he doesn't try to pinch him for Villa." JB says, "Oh, really, Dorco? It's his first season here. Look at Vardy's first season. Excellent point, JP. Excellent point." And he goes on to say, "Can I just say we haven't played with the number 10 to supply the balls he needs. Maddison plays mostly on the right at the moment." Terry says, "I worked abroad in many countries. Trust me, it takes quite a while to get used to a new culture." Certainly does. So basically what we're saying, and apparently Samari is still having growing pains. I wish I was. And I never said anything today. I never said anything. You brought it up. But yeah, as they getting back to today's team, I mean, the first goal, talk us through it. Talk us through it. I mean, Lookman, if we don't sign him at the end of the season, to me, he's done enough. He's done enough to warrant a contract.
Mate, I was so buzzing for him, because I put out earlier when I saw the lineup, I lit up like a kid at Christmas, because I don't know if it's wrong, maybe I am, but my favourite player this season when I've seen him play has been Lookman. I love what he does. I love the fact that he doesn't just stick to his side. He's obviously been given that freedom, because he chases everything down. He drives forward. He's actually quite clever at getting in behind the defence. We saw that for his goal today, and I don't know if it's right that I think he's my favourite player this season, because he really has. I know he's alone here, maybe I shouldn't say that, but my favourite player to watch this season when he's played has been Lookman. And obviously then my second favourite Leicester player to watch this season was Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, the man who got his assist. And the first goal really epitomised Leicester's control of the game. Crystal Palace couldn't get out of their half.
No.
For a solid 20 minutes, they barely got out of the half. And when they did, they lofted the ball 20 yards ahead of the striker or the winger. Casper dealt with it easy. The defence mopped it up. It was very rarely did I, apart from that chance where Casper made a great save, they didn't do anything. And then Leicester pressed. And it didn't work the first time they got away with it. They got away with it the second time. But Leicester pressed. Then they, the third time they got the ball, but they didn't quite get the chance. And they kept going, and then bang. They got the foot in, they got the ball, he turns that defender, they opened up his body, he puts the ball through, and it's such a great finish from Lukeman. He did it so coolly and calmly to hit that first time and hit it underneath a diving keeper who got down low to it, but just couldn't get anywhere near it, mate. It was a great goal to watch.
And let's be honest, I mean, they did, and I think after about 3 or 4 minutes, they did make Schmeichel have to make a save. But, I mean... Lookman, he's got goals in him. Liverpool today, we know he's got that. He can play either wing, which is a great advantage. I mean, if you've got a player, Brendan likes his utility players, but it's great if you've got a player that can, you sat him on the subs bench. You only need to have him as a winger sub. You don't, rather than two, and you can have an extra player from somewhere else. So I love the guy, but I will take credit for scoring because I think was it about 40 minutes or so when they scored 39 minutes, I think, when they got the goal.
Yes, it was a
because I did say I did remember saying I know, hang on a second here, because this is the time when Leicester normally concede just before half time. We went and did it, and it was like, what? Yes, and that pass from Kieran Dewsbury Hall. It took out 4 Palace defenders.
Yeah,
has this guy been around playing in the Premier League for 5 or 6 years, or what?
You think it, because like you said, it's not like through an injury crisis in that area. Ironically, that's probably the area we've managed to get away with injuries in terms of always having 3 or 4 bodies available for that position.
Yes.
It's not like he's not been, he's only been playing because we're desperate for numbers. He's been phenomenal. He's not even slightly looked like getting, but pushed out of that position, and he wasn't he? It was a joy to watch. Maybe we've been looking in the wrong place to try and get our Mahrez replacement, because the way he just turned and the way, like I said, the way he opened up that body and that ball, like you said, it completely took 4 Palace players out of the game, and it made that finish so it took all the weight off Lukeman's shoulders, because all he had to do was get his head down, put his foot through the ball. And the result, and goal was inevitable in more senses, because he had no one in front of him. That was because, and you remember he started that with his back to goal. So it's the insight and the connection and the link up he has between his teammates, the understanding they obviously will keep working on in training, and it's paying off because he didn't have, he didn't stand on the ball, look around and stop the momentum. He took everything in one swift brush momentum like that. Yes, that wasn't arm sway to elaborate it, but that's exactly how he did it, and it was great to watch.
And I've got to say, I'm looking at my Leicester City calendar up here for the month of April, and Ademola Lookman is one of the 2 featured players.
Yes, with Yuri Tillemans as well, isn't he?
With Yuri Tillemans, Please stay, Yuri. Please stay.
I'm not the only one, man. I'm not the only one.
No, I do talk to it quite often.
Yeah,
got a little shrine here. We smell one of those smelly, sticky things that goes off. But yeah, but Lookman, we're giving credit to quite rightly to KDH, because, like I say, just 4 defenders out in one go. But Lookman, knowing what he might be going to do, running into the box, ready to take that pass.
Yes, he was, and that's what I mean. He's so clever, because obviously something I would say that Barnes doesn't do enough. He comes in Barnes, and sometimes he'll he'll make his own run in, but you don't. And again, I feel like I'm harsh because we all seem to be trying to tweak Barnes just a little bit, but it's because we just think so highly of him and want to see him at his best. What Lukeman did for that goal is he drove in. He drove in behind that defence. And like I said, obviously it's something they work on, because KDH played that pass, not blind exactly, but he played it knowing that Lukeman or somebody should be making that run into that area. And And that's what he did. And, you know, I know he's had a bit of time out of the team. There was a few questions raised. Some people started speculating, did he have a deal in his contract? Do we have to sign him if he pays this much?
Oh.
More conspiracy theories than a lot less monsters still being
Well, I'm
out.
going to say, didn't we have all this last season with Under?
Yeah, we did. And, you know, and then, but there was that talk before he started not being included in the squad that much that Brendan, you know, I think he's got 6 goals in all competition. This will now be 7, I believe. You might correct me, you might say it's 6, 7, or 8 in all competitions.
Yeah.
But Brendan's setting the target to hit 10, maybe with the intention of going, if you can do that and show me what you can do without being a Leicester player, that will really make me want to make you a Leicester player even more than I already do. And it's great to see his intelligence to do that was brilliant. It's not an easy goal because, like I said, you ask anyone else who isn't a striker, whether they're a winger or not, get your head down, make that run, because he does it. He doesn't look up. He only looks to see the pass. He's got his head down, his head over the ball, and he hits it well. Some people might stutter, might lose. You know, with Nacho doesn't always gets it stuck under his feet a couple of times, doesn't he? He didn't do that. He just hit it purely and deservedly got the goal that the pass warranted.
Indeed. I'm just winding West Ham unofficial up. I've just sent him a message. We may be below you, but I'm dodging the wheels coming off your wagon. To which he replied, still got to scroll down. All right, Jake, how the devil are you? JB say, is KDH the Yuri replacement? Do you know something? I said this a while ago when KDH started to have these play well and started to get into the team, and afterwards I thought, am I building this guy up, you know, a bit? But I'm not going to say no to that at the moment.
No, I don't like the word replacement because right now he's been given the freedom to do his job. He gets back defensively. He kind of has a similar role, and I think Leicester are always going to need 2 players that are asked to do a similar role. And you know, we're forgetting that Tielemans has got that wise head. He's a few years older. He's been playing, you know, at an international level as well. I know people might say, "Oh, that doesn't really matter too much." It really does. He's more experienced, so he maybe does focus more on his defending side. Not to say that Dewsbury doesn't, but we seem to play a system that has them 2 centre midfielders, either side of a Mendy or an Ndidi, that go up and down and patrol that way. So I don't see him as a Tielemans replacement. Still might sign a 2-year extension. We don't know. Might sign a 1-year extension. So he's not replacing him just yet. I actually think, and I know we spoke about him in the one transfer show that we did, and his name has cropped up again, that Charles the Kelter or whatever his name is, the Club Bruges midfielder, who's another youngster that Leicester are investing in youth. That might be someone that they bring in to turn into that sort of role player. Over time, that might be the long-term replacement. Right now, he's a perfect partner for Tielemans to be operating on that side, along with James Maddison and Mendy. They form quite a nice little diamond, I guess, the 4 of them.
I must just let me... which one is this? No, let's just remove that. We'll go through a couple of comments, and then we'll take a quick break, and then we'll have a look at the second goal and obviously the second half. Where are we here? So Terry says, my only concern about today's game was yet again 80% of our attacking moves ended up down the left. As long as we're attacking, Hi Chris, got to the game today after my illness. Brilliant, David. So glad you're able to go back. And what a game to go back to. JB, my only concern with KDH is his numbers needs more goal attack, but it's his first season in this league. Doug, how the devil are you, sir? Welcome along. You know, just about got his breath back. I'm sure as a Liverpool fan you did. But I'm going to say thank you very much for the draw because it got me an extra point in the prediction league. So
yeah, God's sake, Doug. You couldn't have either just lost or won, could you? You had to draw.
Charles de Catori is mainly a centre forward, and most attacks of his is down the left as well. I just want to let me see if I can. Okay, that was the one that it was. I do think this sort of kind of needs to be shared a little bit. Not unlike I've got to say Michael McIntyre. I just want to go through the West Ham things here. So I got here, we may well be below you, but I'm dodging the wheels coming off your wagon. And Jake says, still got to scroll down. Europa or bust. I went, haha, claret bottle jobs. And he says, keep stroking that Premier League trophy. And I went, at least we have one to stroke.
You've got to love some banter, haven't you?
You've got to love a bit of banter live in the chat. Jake, you're 14 years old. Don't you be stroking anything, young man.
Oh, for God's sake. And there's the tone limit.
Oh, I'm surprised it's been up this high for as long as it has. We're going to be straight back after this. You too can have one of these wonderful bright yellow. How the devil are you? How the devil are you tops? Which I'm sure you will do. Or you could have a Leicester Till I Die t-shirt or a logoed polo shirt, all on www.leicestertillidie.com/shop, and you can find the full range there. Talk us through the second goal, because let's be honest with you, I was like out of my seat almost.
I mean, I saw his interview after the game. He pretty much could not ask for a better goal. Your first Premier League goal, had a very, very noisy. Well done again to the crowd. They were brilliant tonight. They were excellent this afternoon. A pretty packed King Power Stadium. I saw something earlier, actually. We're top of the pops on percentages. I think we're like 98.2 or something percent full at home games. So the crowd always been there. So it was nice to hear the volume as well today. And top bins. Top bins on your left foot after you turn somebody and smack it in. You can't ask for a better goal, can you, for your first F1? He's never going to forget that in a hurry.
No.
For his first Premier League goal. It was a hit and a half.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was like, just where did he pick that out from?
Oh, again, like, can if you could have put a target, what they say, don't you? When they practice set pieces, they normally have like a little target they might hang down from the corner of the goal to try and get it there. Because you normally say, unless it's an absolute world class save, like I used to make when I was a goalkeeper, don't tell anybody, right? You gave it in that corner and you did it. And I know it wasn't quite in that corner, but he had to give goalkeeper beat on, and so the goalkeeper would have dived there 100 times. He wouldn't have got close, he wouldn't have saved it. It was a phenomenal hit, and like I said. I mean, he said in this interview, to take one coming off like his toe end and being the scrappiest goal you ever seen. But one to remember when in 15,
his first goal, goal in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I think he scored in Europe possibly, but his first goal in the Premier League, and it was at home. The lad, he said, he is just totally, utterly in dreamland. He said a boyhood dream come true. He said, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, it means so much. It's a dream come true to score in the Premier League. I have dreamt it since I was a little boy. I have come close, but I am so happy today. I hope you're going to go out and celebrate, Mr. Dewsbury Hall, because you certainly deserve to. And let's get him tied down to a long-term contract, please, because I'm sure we'll get some of the Man United say, and we'll get Arsenal fans saying, Dewsbury Hall's coming to Arsenal.
No, they can say that all they like. I can tell you this now. This lad has got Leicester running through his blood. I will ask you this question, and it is a little bit rhetorical. I want to see if you can give me the answer. What's the difference between someone you class as maybe a really class player and a talented player that shows the passion of being a local lad? What's the difference between, say, a Tillemans and a Dewsbury Hall, to give the example? You got Tillemans as well, who most people would say is quite class, and KDH is a local lad showing his abilities. Do you know what the difference is between them?
I would say, well, the local is the obvious difference.
It is, but the actual difference in terms of what you get from him at times is he never stops. Every run seems to have that extra 5% about it. Every challenge seems to have that. It has it almost feels like everybody in the crowd is tackling with him. Everybody's making them runs with him. You know, that silly thing you don't find yourself doing as fans to be like, go on. And you're edging him on and you're leaning forward yourself, as if that's helping him do his job. But you're there with him in spirit, aren't you? Leaning forward and you start coming off the edge of your seat. And you just feel that every time he's doing something good, you can hear it in the crowd.
You know what I found myself doing when I was watching the Europa League game midweek, because I didn't do a watch along for that.
You didn't start kicking the telly trying to score, did you?
Yeah, I'm there, sat there, my legs going, that, and nobody else say that they don't do it, because I bloody know you do.
We've seen managers do it, so there's no way us fans don't do it.
No, exactly. Half time, 2-0 up, and as the gentleman from Eagle-Eyed Football, Nate, kept reminding me, they were 2-0 up at half time in the game at the Selhurst Park earlier in the season, and it comes out, and it was a penalty. I can't say that it wasn't. Now, that wasn't the bone of contention. The bone of contention was, well, if you watched the stream, you didn't know who was cheering more, me for the saves or the guy for the fact that they got the penalty. I mean, did you see why it had to be taken again?
No, I didn't actually. I genuinely didn't. I only got. People remember I watched it on my phone, so even when I got one replay of it, the camera angle that it used was so awful that I was like this close to the bloody thing. So you couldn't see him encroach. I couldn't see him encroaching. And Sky didn't show it in slow motion. They just showed the penalty. They didn't show another replay of it, so I still can't see it. But when you even face the rebound.
Yeah, the first of all, they said that and we looked at it and presumed it was Casper because he was slightly off his line. When I say slightly off his line, I mean, a footprint off his line. So I don't think that was encroaching. But then apparently, Rich from Eagle-Eyed Football joined us afterwards as well. So I had the two of them, and he said that it was Soyuncu that he thought was encroaching.
No, here's my thing. Here's my thing with the encroaching rule. I get it. I get it that you shouldn't. It's been a rule for years. It's not like it's a new thing. You don't go in. You're not supposed to. And I know it's the first time it's gone under the microscope but you're not supposed to encroach into the box until there's contact with the kid. However, we've recently scrapped a rule that lasted for about a season where gamesmanship wasn't allowed. You weren't allowed to do them silly little why are you going to the ball things that they try and do. They piss me off. I want to punch them in the face. Even when one of our players do it, I want to punch them in the face just a little bit when they do them silly little stutters. It's like, are you a broken down car? What's wrong with you? Take the penalty.
That shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't be allowed to stutter.
So my opinion is if you take a penalty normally and someone encroaches, retake it. If you're doing on your way to the ball, I don't think it's wrong that a player steps into the box.
How's it go?
Because that's what they do. They're like chickens running towards the ball when they stop me. It's like,
you know what's going to happen to that, don't you?
Yeah, of course, clip it, mate, because it's brilliant. It does. It looks so stupid. It's so infuriating. And I think if you're a player on the line that's waiting for him to connect so you can try and get to that rebound like you did, I think you should have a bit of, I'm not saying, in the letter of the law, it's right, but I think there should be a little code for it, where if you're going to be a prat and stutter your way to the penalty, like you're suffering with strobe lights or something, I don't know, but maybe you can forgive someone for being there first, in the box. Maybe you can forgive it, but at the end of the day, like I said, minus that moment, the other 8, 3 minutes of what was 96 minutes in total of football, left the control. The rest of it. So in the end, we didn't suffer from that one lapse in concentration. No. I mean, I know he's already declared for Ivory Coast, but the Irish might try and steal him back because he must have a leprechaun at home as a pet. Third time was definitely a charm. The only good thing about it is he's missed 3 penalties in a row and 2 in one game. So that's got
I want to say it's going to be a quiz question, isn't it? Who saved 2 penalties in the space of 2 minutes for Leicester City? I mean, it was.
Go on.
Brilliant save. He was just unlucky that he it came out to Sahar the way it did.
Yeah.
And then you've got to look and say, where was Mo Salah when you needed him?
Yeah, I know, right? He'd have lovely headed that Watford as the goal, but again, it's one of them.
You're thinking about that, when he missed the penalty rebound.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been nice. And look, I did put a little bit of tongue in cheek. I don't hate him per se. I thought his goal celebration was a little bit knob-endish, but still, it's not his fault that it was asked to be retaken, and it wasn't his fault that when it was saved, it was pretty much straight back at him. There's nothing else Casper could do apart from, it'd have been a miracle if it had clung on to that ball. And it's just one of them. You got to give him respect. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we got you back.
For God's sake, I need to get something sorted because this is it really is starting to stress me out that this keeps freezing and I can't tell that I'm frozen. But yeah, I feel sorry for Casper more than anything, and it's just so flawed that the rebound, looped into the net. It wasn't most solid, but at the end of the day, like I said, minus that, we still controlled that game afterwards. Even when Palace tried to create something afterwards, they didn't really create much, did they? There was that little alarm bell when Jeff Shutt flicked it across the box, but Leicester swept it up, and I don't really remember Palace doing anything after that penalty. Well, after the second penalty. No, after the rebound from the second penalty.
Get there eventually. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a strange one, isn't it?
It is. It's not. It is Scott. It's Scott's right. That was the North. That's where they copy it from. It's North Macedonia. You know the hacker that the New Zealand. That's the North Macedonia.
Can I just say what happened to your women's team the other night? 10-1 they lost to the Lionesses.
Wait, whose women's team?
North Macedonia.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you threw me off because you said, I was like, who's you on about? I don't remember Leicester women's playing. And then, of course, I checked it yesterday. Well, we just helping out fellow nations, That's what we do. I said, don't worry about it. You're not going to lose like Latvia did. Latvia lost them 20-0. Probably don't do that.
Talking of Leicester City women, don't forget, if you missed it on Friday, you've got an in conversation with Special where I speak to Jonathan Morgan, the ex-manager of Leicester City Women, and I believe the guy is so honest and open, and he answered all the questions, bar one, which was understandable. But what he did for Leicester City Women, honestly, him, his dad, his sisters, they all need to take some credit for that. And I know we own them now, but he got them into that Premier League, and it was unfortunate they didn't get a chance to carry it on. But great interview. It's under the In Conversation with section on Leicester Till I Die TV. Over and over and over again, Arsenal, good evening. How the devil are you, sir? How dare you beat the godlike Vieira? The cheek after they hammered us last week.
That's what you got to do. You got to turn up and try Arsenal. That's how it happens.
So hang on. Palace beat Arsenal. Leicester beat Palace. So surely that makes us better than Arsenal.
Oh, you would think that, but they also did double overs us, so maybe not.
Shh. Don't say that. Don't say that. I mean, yeah, Terry. I mean, yeah. Let's have a quick look at the stats, and then we're going to bring. We will bring Brad's board back. He's getting his board out for you, ladies. So if you are watching that, right, where have I got the stats? They are somewhere here. He says. There we go. They're further down. So let me just wiggle that down a little bit. As the actress said. Here we go. So if I wiggle, here we go. Am I going mad here, or can I not see something that says stats?
I'm looking for you, mate.
Now I tell you what it is.
No, you've not got that right there. No,
I know what I have done. Arsenal says everybody's better than you. Now, just bottling top four. What more can I say about Arsenal?
Yeah.
You know,
At least someone else is doing it this season.
I need to. Where are we? Let's just see if I've got it on this one. If not, I'll just read the stats out to you, and we will. No, I haven't got the stats handy. It's on a slide that I haven't got on the screen at the moment. But the possession was
job. That's all you needed, Chris, and that's all you forgot. God.
I've got one job. Haven't I? I have. Possession, which doesn't really count for anything. I think we all agree that it was 50-50. We had 12 shots. They had 11. Apparently, they had 2 big chances. We didn't have any. Accurate passes 419 to 413, fouls 11 to 12, corners 3 to 4. I mean, I said at the start you couldn't put a bit of a cigarette paper between these two teams, and so it was.
Yeah, it seemed that way on paper, but it definitely wasn't with the majority of that performance. Chris, I'm sure you've had this issue with this before, but what does 2 goals count as if they're not big chances? Does it have a successful chances section? Because I can't understand how we've not had, because we had 3 big chances. Tillemans had one tipped over the bar in the second half. So what are they classing as big chances? Because if big chances is scuffing your penalties and having them saved twice by Casper, I don't. This is why stats are.
I don't get these. It's like these expected goals. We were 1.25. They were 1.52. What the hell is expected goals? But
I mean, that again, it doesn't look like the performance, does it? The stats do not match the performance, because yes, Palace had a few chances, but apart from when he had the spot kick and that one early in the first half, I don't remember Casper having to make a save.
No, he didn't.
He saved that one. He doesn't even save that. It wasn't even a 1-on-1. Marty really covered well. He just hit it through him. He hit it underneath him, which was good by him. But
hi Darius. Thank you very much for popping in, sir. Gonna give a chance to. Oh, here we go. I thought you had 2 jobs, Chris. First, lowering the tone of the channel. I managed to do that. The second, not providing the stats and information. It's hard to do all this, present and produce at the same time. I'm a bloke. I don't multitask very well. Another mediocre performance from Tillemans? I don't think so.
No,
Brad, I'll let you have a go at him from there.
Again, I said this when Darius was on. I said this about Tillemans. He's been given the responsibility that whilst Maddison is benefiting from a wider role, and instead of being so straight on, and it's great that he can play that number 10 role, he can, but it gives him a freedom to work his way into that and not be so predictable. I think it's what Brendan's trying to make his from 3 hard to figure out how they're going to go about things, and by doing that, you've got to get them trained and working well in different positions. And Maddison playing further up, and holding that line a bit higher than he would in that number 10 means that Yuri's been given that more defensive responsibility. I'm not saying he's sitting there next to Mendy babysitting, but he's sitting in between that gap, and when he does that, he's going to become like an Ndidi. You're going to hear him get the ball, you're going to hear him maybe hold up the play, and then you're going to hear that he's passed the ball on, but you're not going to see too much out of that. Every so often you did, and he had that chance early in the second half, which if it weren't for the fingertip of Guaita, would have made it 3-0 and completely killed the game off the ball.
Was that the one that ended up on the moon? I think it's still that
one he did get. I think he was trying to convert for the Tigers, but I've been the one where Guaita's fingertip stopped it being 3-0 and he put it over the bar for a corner.
Right.
He has proven it.
In fairness to Darius, he did say he didn't see the game just though he was the lowest rated player on the graphic. He actually wasn't. Daka was actually lower rated, but we'll come on to those in a second, because as if by magic, here we go. These are the stats. Better late than never. Better late than never. Now, like I say, I wish somebody would explain the expected goals to me, because I just don't understand them. But like you say, yeah, big chances. I thought we had two. Unless these are chances that don't go in.
They must be, because Crystal Palace will at least have 4 if you include the 2 penalties, the rebound, and that chance. So it must be chances they don't take. But then again, they should have 3 then, shouldn't they? Because there's 2 penalties and the one Schmeichel said. So not even they know.
Like I say, I just don't get it. In fact, I tell you what I'll do. I'm going to have a look on another site here, and I'll just see what they have it down now.
Because that sounds like first half stats that they've got confused with there.
And they have shots on goal 3 each, shots off goal 3 each, and they don't actually have that stat, so they're a sensible one.
Yeah, and that makes more sense, because I think we did have 3. Well, no, I think we had more shots on goal. I don't know if you class the ones that kind of p-roll towards a goalkeeper or what.
Who knows?
So maybe they won't count a chance, but still 3 on target. Yeah, that's about right. We were very clinical.
Darius says, thanks for this, Darius. XG is about the so if the XG is 0.7, which is the XG of a penalty, you'd expect 7 out of 10 times for it to be scored. Okay.
Basically, what they've done, Chris, is they thought, how can we try and make algebra seem relevant still? And we'll put some letters at the end of a chance. Basically, what you're telling me there, Darius, is they rate a chance out of 10. So if he hits the other side of the bar and it hits the line and comes out, is that a 0.9? Are they giving that a 9 out of 10 for effort?
Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, we're going to be straight back after this when Brad is going to get it. He might be bread as well. Are you oven baked? Or are you sliced?
Well, I'm a bit doughy.
Hey, he was on earlier.
I'm still rising to the occasion.
We will.
Now I'm like a souffle around a loud noise. I've just deflated the atmosphere.
I'll tell you what. I can't beat that one. I can't beat that one.
I can whisk it.
Stay tuned, Brad. We'll be getting his board out for you. But in the meantime, please do remember on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, get over to YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. Share if you are able to, like if you can do, but mainly please subscribe. This is time when I have my toilet break, and it gives Brad a chance to go through his tactics. And so, Brad, it's over to you.
Cheers, Chris. I might start calling you Jeff, so I can say cheers, Jeff. Like we normally, yeah.
I've been called worse.
Yeah, well, what I want to talk about today is what Leicester did in attack and defence, both really well. It works both dynamics, really. When Leicester were having to, when Leicester were trying to attack, they had 2 great things working for them, and it was weird because even though technically on the right hand side, James Maddison was given the graphic as playing like that, that wasn't actually the case. The wingers were, or wingers, I use inverted here, the wide-sided forwards were dropping back. And what that actually allowed them to do was between them, and this one here would say was Maddison, allowed for a diamond way of attacking. So after they won the ball back after the press, and I'll show the Leicester way they defensively pressed the ball, but this is how they then went about accelerating their attack. With Maddison or Luton coming in from their wide areas, bear with me, I'm left-handed. I'm trying to attack down the right with my right hand like Leicester. It's a bit shaky and not always perfect, but I hope you can see that and get there. But if whichever one of them was that came to the central role and helped sit there just in front of Daka, who would have been sat there, or Iheanacho when he came on, And what would happen is Super Mendy, Claude Makelele of Leicester's era, right, would get the ball given to him by a defensive player. And then what he would do is he would look to spread it to Youri Tielemans or Dewsbury Hall. And they would both in tandem. That's supposed to be a straight line. I'm drunk with my right hand when I try and draw. They would press forward with a little bit of silk movement there, as you can see. And they would join the attack, making it pretty much a 3-man attack going forward. And they would go down either side, either with the ball or without. So if Dewsbury Hall was to receive it, he'd go down the left and go in there. And that just helped Leicester move around the field, because Palace actually played perfectly into Leicester's hands. And this area, if you look at how Palace actually lined up, was the area that was open. And Leicester essentially just passed around it. And that's where Leicester got their attacking press right. Now, you may think, Brad, so how does that compare to how Leicester pressed defensively? And how can you press positively when you're trying to defend? Well, it all starts, ironically, by losing the ball. And what would happen is Palace were quite rigid. If Leicester lost the ball on a high press and the likes of Maddison and Tielemans were caught up the field, Palace attacked very rigidly. They would make the runs down there, but they'd keep them level. They'd keep them level, their runs, so they didn't get too far ahead of their central man, who would drive at maybe the first person, maybe it was Dewsbury Hall or Maddison who lost the ball or whoever, would try and block it. And what that would allow Leicester to bring their attack triangle back, holding up the ball, only giving them one option, because they'd firstly try and cut the option out. So I know I haven't got a big swipe build to make this more visible and noticeable, but they would cut out the runs, so it would only leave Crystal Palace, and they did this all afternoon, with one option, knocking it back to a centre-back and building slowly. That allowed Leicester to come back. Maddison could drop back to hold that line, which would then entail in Daka being ahead of him, would chase down the loose balls and the stray passes, which is where the pressure would really start. And that would then allow Dewsbury Hall and Youri Tielemans to turn and face just in front of that halfway line. They would turn and face, they'd be going that way, and they'd be looking for if Daka was able to nick the ball back, that they could win it still on the high press and get in behind. And that did lead to the goal, as we saw. You know, the mistake was made. Daka got the ball. He played it back to Dewsbury Hall. He got the assist, and then also got his goal through similar methods. But what that allowed,
I think we best maybe end it there, because you do keep breaking up.
Fine, yeah, I'm a bit pissed off. I'm not going to do it until my phone sorts out. I'm not going to do it. There's no point, though, is there, mate?
No. You know, it was good, but I'm afraid, unfortunately, it did keep freezing.
Yeah, there's no point me doing one if people can't see it. So I'll sort it out on my phone and get that sorted.
There's something wrong with your phone.
Let me sort it out, mate. Just take my camera a second so I can sort myself out here.
Not a problem. Not a problem. If I can get it up, we'll have a look at the players' performances. So let's just bring this up here, and you can let me know what your thoughts are on this. There we go. So on the performances, I mean, Dewsbury Hall, this is flash scores. They've given Dewsbury Hall man of the match for Leicester, and I think man of the match overall. But what positive for me looking at that is the fact that all our back four were sort of, you know, in the sevens. I think some of them were a bit harsh. I think Justin was better than a 7.2, definitely. But Amati and Soyuncu played well together, and it was nice to see. You know, we've actually now, and I can't believe I'm saying this season, we've actually got a place where we've got two centre-backs that got on well here, and yet we've still got Evans and Fofana that can get on well as well. We've got a luxury of defenders at the moment. Dewsbury Hall 8.7, Mendy 7.4, as Darius alluded to before, Tillman 6.7, but I thought he had an all right game. Excuse me, just having a quick throat gargle there. Lookman 7.3, Maddison 8. I thought Lookman was as good as Maddison. Anyway, Daka got a 6.4. And you're looking at, the Palace, the highest Palace one there. They got a couple in the 7s. Ayew, Schlupp, and Zaha. Schlupp, I thought, was very quiet against us. Usually he comes back against us quite well, but he had a very quiet game. But we did stifle. I mean, Gallagher, everybody's been raving about Gallagher for the last few games, but he hasn't done particularly well. He didn't have a very good game at all. And I think that was because we stopped him, was it not, Brad?
We stopped, notably we stopped Gallagher and we stopped Zaha. We stopped all of them all game. They really could not get going, Crystal Palace. As I was trying to explain with the tactical, but this heap of junk doesn't want to record properly. Leicester kept a defensive view, which always meant that wherever they lost the ball, they always had two outlets. They could either go either side of them, but if one of them options or both of them options were cut off, they could revert back to a Martin and Sonchu. And it surprised me a little bit that Crystal Palace didn't come at us the way we pressed them, because by the time they did do that, and even then they kind of faltered off the idea when they kind of gave up the chase in a weird way, because I don't remember Palace doing anything after that couple of minutes after their third time's an Irish charm for goal. They didn't get that aggressive at us. They didn't come at us more and press us quicker, because they made it a lot easier for them players as well, I have to say, for it. And Leicester doing that made Crystal Palace play bad and not look as brilliant as they have done. Yes.
I mean, I've got to say, and I want to thank a friend of mine here, Colin, because he sent me this. Apparently, this was when they were announcing the Man United and Arsenal results this weekend.
Viewers, apologize. I'm continue.
Makes me laugh. I can never get enough of that man. I want to hire him to cheer me up. Well, as you know, we'll close here with the man of the match, etc. If you're watching still, let us know who you thought your man of the match was, and then we've just got a last question from JB that he asked earlier that I said I'd come back to at the end. You very kindly jumped in because I thought that Alan, I think, he was having trouble just getting the signal, and you jumped in and you gave players and manager 9. Now he has not gone quite that high. He's gone 8 for the manager, 7 for the team. But you both agreed. I think everybody's agreed, to be honest with you. Man of the match, number 22, Kieran Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit baffled by the 7 for the team, but it's still a positive rating, isn't it? It's not like he's saying they played at a 6 and a 5. And I said, that there has been bigger wins and more excitable wins this season, but I would still argue that is quite easily up there as one of our best performances of the season. Like I said, it was complete control. Even the commentators just said it's Leicester. Apart from, like I said, 3 minutes of that entire game was Leicester in complete control. I don't know where the commentators near the end got the idea that it was a bit of an end-to-end thing, because Palace seemed to get to the edge of the box, we take it off them and go again. But hey, it is what it is. I thought it was a 9. I thought they deserved 9s. And it's weird. He got a fantastic assist, got a super goal. But had Zaha headed that wide, we'd be talking about him going up against a goalkeeper that made a vital save in the first half and then 2 penalty saves that until he puts it in, would have kept the game at 2-0. And got really unfortunate that he the defence has been might feel a little bit hard done by. Casper certainly will, that he's lost his clean sheet today, because he was really good when called upon. But
yeah,
you not to quote, Roy Keane. That's his job, and when he's called upon his job, at least he's done it well today, because he didn't have to do much, which is a good thing. He didn't have to do much. He showed how resolute we were at stopping them doing much, really.
Yes.
But when he did it well. He pounced on that loose ball from that little flick. But again, aside from that, didn't really have much to do. So yeah, Dewsbury does deserve it, because he was just like a machine for.
He was on another level.
Yeah, he was on that level that you just love to see, and it's even better because he's a local lad that we're seeing it.
Yeah. Terry Fuller says, so glad the laughing man is back. That's a brilliant clip. A bit harsh, says Scott from Alan, but I respect his decision. I think at least 8s for both managers and players. I mean, I would have moved more towards what Brad was saying, but at the end of the day, we're only watching it on telly. He's at the ground watching it, so I kind of have to say, I have to go with Alan.
Yeah, which is fair. I'm not going to go totally against it. I just thought
I said, I don't know if it was yourself I messaged or not, that, have we got Leicester back?
Well, again, it can't be no coincidence that at the same sort of weeks that Brendan starts saying that Leicester have got their identity, they found it again.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was just in the case of returning players. It's nice to see that our team's got their gold star for being able to pass it 5 yards and advanced into 10-yard passing territory, because that's something that has come on leaps and bounds in these last 5 or 6 games. And it's taken 6 or so months on the training ground to get it right. But yes, it looks like dealing with injuries has finally not benefited Leicester, because they've never benefited Leicester, but as an entirety, as a squad, it's benefited that they're all on that same page. So no matter how many or little game time they have, whether it's 30 games a season or whether it's 12 games and 6 appearances or whatever, they're able to come on and do the job that's asked of them. And to a degree, yes, we've had our down moments as individuals and as a team, but to a degree, they've not let us down on that pitch in terms of the way they've tried to go about their business. So, yeah, I was impressed with everybody today. I think overall, on terms of individual performances, there's actually a few contenders for man of the match at one point. Casper, I think, Mendy, all deserve their rights and mentions that we've given them on this show, because they were like the standout players from the performance today.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. JB, I said I'd come back to this at the end. I don't know if you're still here or you've gone. Back to the business, honest opinions. Can we get top 6 and are we winning Europa Conference?
Well, again, I'll take you back to what was said earlier in comparison to Brendan's pre-match, where he said they're wanting to do as well as they can in the league. Now, whether that ends up being 8th or 9th or 10th, that is the goal. I mean, he was talking about every single goal, and it's not the first time he's done this. He's done this for a few seasons since he went to Leicester. He sets seasonal goals, and obviously he admitted they have to reset these goals if they're missed or if they're not able to achieve like the goals, how many goals he wanted us to concede. Which sounds ridiculous, but I like the fact that he's trying to make sure that the defence stays strong and the heads stay focused enough to go, right, we didn't want to concede X amount of goals. Let's see how close now we can get to it. How little can we go over that target? And I believe after today's game, Leicester now are only 3 goals shy of what they scored last season. I know he's seen that as a target to beat, and there's an end of the season target that they're setting. And by the sounds of everything, and matched with the performance we got from the lads today, you would suggest that 6 and Europe is what they're hoping to get.
And as I say, when we looked at the table earlier, it's not out of all proportions. So we could still do it. Europa League, it's a cup. Sorry, Europa Conference League, it's a cup competition. How do you feel about the second leg? I mean, it was 0-0. We obviously discussed the match afterwards the other day. I feel after that performance today, I do feel confident.
Yeah, and a lot of fans and a lot of other neutrals that probably saw our result, and I think we got a few comments on that one. I was obviously a bit annoyed at the fact that we weren't able to really press home that first half, because even though we didn't create too much, is that Iniacho chance puts you 1-0 up. It's a different game, but we didn't seem to press on from that. But to be fair, from what I've heard and what I've read about them as a team, and Brendan and that's come out and said it, and even their own manager's thrown a few doubts out there, is they like to attack more. And we've seen what happens to teams if they come out of their defensive shell a bit more, because they can't play for 0-0. Surely they're not going to rely on, let's play 120 minutes and hope we win it on penalties, because if they do that, then they don't deserve anything this season. In terms of success, if that's how you're going to go about your business. And I'm sure they won't. They're a terrific side. I'd be very disappointed in them as an opposition, but very happy for them to play defensive, negative football like they did in the first tie, and hopefully Leicester get that goal that they know they're capable of creating. There's no reason we can't. I don't see why there isn't,
No, and they've got to come at us, and that will leave them open at the back,
Yes, yes. And if they leave them gaps like they did in that first half against us, where we tried to take advantage of it.
I mean, Terry says there, have you noticed we don't pack our box at corners and we play up the pitch for a swift counter attack? I mean, if we're doing that against PSV, no reason. Brookline, hello, sir. Where the hell have you been? We've missed you. Welcome back. Mendy's moved ahead of Ndidi. Soyuncu has returned. He is moving the ball into the attack quickly. Evans is solid, but moves it too slowly. And indeed, he's injured, so I think that's probably why Mendy's on. No sign of Perez. No sign of your Mr. Perez there, Brookline.
Do you know what? Right, you wouldn't have believed he was on good form after the PSV result, because I saw some people tweeting or retweeting. So I have to apologise. It's like a sauna in here, and I'm getting a bit of a headache. I've had to open the door. I apologise that I've got twats for drivers.
That's okay. No, don't worry.
But I saw people actually tweeting and retweeting, I've missed this guy. I don't know why, but I feel Perez should play. Why? We've got so many better options. I actually responded to one that I kind of know, so I know I'd take it tongue in cheek. And I turned around and said, I do not want to see it playing. And thank you to my favourite Leicester player, even though he's a low need in Adam Lookman, for not only getting a start, but taking it by both hands, getting your goal, and showing why we don't play Perez. With the greatest respect to him as a footballer, we've got better. We're not in a position where we're suddenly wanting to play Perez. Thank God. Yeah.
You see, Palace, having not been able to beat us, they actually have to go and watch Botafogo versus Corinthians.
I mean, that's some stretch to try and cheer your afternoon up.
Yes, it is. I don't know. He's not realised yet. I have said to him, "Smile, you are on our channel." Let's see.
The camera just got off for once, and now he's saying something. So maybe the other guy heard that and turned it off.
Rich is with us tomorrow night. On the opposition show, so it will be good to leave it a bit longer, just see if he reads it or not. Maybe this Botafogo Corinthian game is a lot more exciting than Palace was for him this afternoon. Next week, 7 o'clock, we got the opposition show on Monday, 9 o'clock, the weekend review show. Back with the Prediction League and yourself, Brad, on the 12th. You need to start getting some some correct predictions.
Well, stop copying my own work.
We'll have to supply each other's in advance so we know we're not cheating.
I think you need to give yours first. I think the leader should go first from now on.
Yeah, then you'll follow me so that you don't fall any further behind.
I've got to go against you, haven't I? So you might put me in predicament.
I am actually more than happy to do that. But that is on Tuesday at 9. Hopefully we'll have Steve Leinix back. His new phone he's got after he hasn't one that he's not.
It wasn't Ronaldo that ran over his phone, was it?
No, he was too old. Ronaldo only does that to kids' phones.
Yeah. And that's
I know. I mean, he was an Everton fan. Ronaldo's given him two. He's just brought it up now. He's absolutely no idea what he's doing.
He's like, what do I mean on the screen?
What's on our channel? Yeah.
He's
He's looking at that. Smile at us. Give us a smile, Rich. He looks like he's in a recording booth with those headphones on, making the new Lionel Richie single.
Yeah, it looks like he's about to drop a new album for over the spring.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think we'll let him go because I don't think he's going to respond to that. And he's taking us down as well.
Boo hiss.
So then we've got Watford on Wednesday with the big fat football quiz. We've nearly got all the teams on, and then of course the big game 5:45 on Thursday, and followed by you and me again for the post-match show then. And let's hope we are talking about a semi-final place for us. That'd be great, wouldn't it? A European semi-final.
Oh, I tell you what, could we have a perfect week? I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm gonna do a you. My best Kevin Keegan impression here. I would love it. if Glinton / Blonde, I can't make up the name, could knock out Roma as well as Celtic in this competition. Because even though I still wouldn't like to take them on in terms of they're not going to be easy, imagine that for your route for the semi-final. You've got a team that's illegally playing two names, and if we can get them in the semi-final, I'd love that. I think that'd be a great occasion. The original Champions League underdogs that proved everybody wrong could go up against the new European underdogs in this competition. That would be a great semi-final tie to behold. Because it is Roma and the winner of that one we get right, isn't it? I haven't just waffled that out for no reason.
No, I think you were fine. Scott, everybody's picking on me now. Scott says, I agree with Brad. Christmas pick his predictions first. Why?
Yeah, see, it's easy to copy your own work when you're at the top because even if you get them wrong, I got them wrong too. Sportsmanship.
Excuse me. I got 4 this week. You got 3. How am I copying you?
Yeah, because what you're doing is you thought about it. You thought, that game that I copied that got me the extra point, that's probably from Brad, you see, because he talked me into it. So, yeah, you need to go first.
I know we must have disagreed at some point. Otherwise, we both have 3 or both have 4.
Yes, I've been jinxing Brighton. That's what got me to the draw with them. Otherwise, I would have backed them, but I daren't back them till they win a game. And now they've done it, I might ask the Brighton faithful if I'm allowed to back them to win again.
Oh, that was almost up there with the how many offside rants. But hey, thanks so much, mate. Have a good evening. You have done your first podcast. Was it Marvel? Who won, Marvel or DC?
Well, I would love to spoil it for you, but I don't believe in spoilers. So if people want to find out, I'll let you know after this quiz because I know you've checked it out, so you probably know anyway. But go and check it out. It's available. If you go to my Twitter at Full Time Focus, the link there, click it. It's a matter of opinion. Subscribe. Remember to turn that notification bell on just like you do for this channel. Give it a like and give it a like and see which one wins. Well, not necessarily wins, but which one gets more of the voting from my panel. Go and check it out.
The panel. And all I will say is it is well worth a listen, and it's great because you don't have to look at us either. So it's a double bonus there. Brad, mate, thank you very much. I'll speak to you afterwards, but I'm sure I will see you on Tuesday night when I will probably extend my lead in the prediction show again.
Yeah, probably, because I'll tell you to go first, and then I'll start going for really silly results, and I'll get 0. That 0 killed me, hasn't it? That 0 week really has hampered me.
Yes, yeah. And did you ever, I mean, if I go say Norwich are playing Man City and I go it's going to be a Man City win, are you really going to go for Norwich just to get a point away from me?
No, because they won't get one, so I won't.
Exactly.
If you go for maybe West Ham to bounce back, I might not agree with you on that one, so I might go against you on that one. They're the games. They're the games.
Yeah,
they're the games.
Anthony was nearly giving a spoiler out. I clicked it up, then I realised what it was. Anthony has seen your content, Brad, and he says who you think are better. Anthony, was that when instead because you couldn't watch the Arsenal game, you thought, I'll put Brad's podcast on?
I know what no, don't do that now. That's when I advertised it. I made sure I could cheer the Arsenal fans up.
They need it. No, we'll go for the Norwich draw. Scott says, thanks, Chris and Brad, for a great show. And thanks very much, mate. Give us a likes. If you have been watching this, I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've enjoyed it, share it if you're able to, would be much appreciated. Smash the likes, because that would mean a lot as well. And obviously, give us a subscribe, because it does really, really help the channel. Brad, I'll see you on Tuesday, mate. It's a great, happy weekend. Leicester's back.
I know, right?
Boom. Speak to you later. Take care, mate.
Take care.
Leicester are back. Yeah, and we have to say that with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek because, yeah, you know Leicester, don't you? Anyway, 2-1 it was. Match of the day 2 is going to be fun tonight. And we know we might just get a few seconds at the end after they've shown the other game that was going on that was, the other big game, Norwich-Burnley. See you Monday at 7. Good night.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.